It's FCA. And we are going to resume our Edgar Allan Poe Fall of the House of Asher. And the next time I do one of these, because I'm going to do another one, I have 4 over there waiting. I'm going to do them in more succession. I thought it would be better to space them out, but I also didn't anticipate having to work so many back-to-back 12-hour days. We're back on mandated overtime at my main job. It's fine. But we are going to continue. We are at 4 a.m. and we are going to do, let's see, where's the read me first? So we have the read me first. We have this with some highlighted letters in various colors. We got a picture of a married couple. It says Franklin and Margaret Asher. Broderick Asher. This is the original guy who was allegedly friends with Edgar Allan Poe. And then we have another one of our skull QR codes. Okay. And then we have a conclusions list. All right, so there's questions, and this is what's going to get us to the answer. This bad boy. So let's do read me first. You call everyone downstairs to the library, including both the maid and the butler. When everyone is assembled, you lock the library and survey your suspects. The Red Death is one of the people in this room. Sometime during the process of gathering everyone and bringing them to the library, the Red Death has also managed to leave one last clue about their identity and nature. While I gazed with this fissure rapidly widened, there came a fierce breath of the whirlwind of the entire orb of the satellite burst at once upon my sight. My brain reeled as I saw the mighty walls rushing asunder. There was a long, tumultuous shouting like the voice of the sand waters, of 1,000 waters, not the sand. It's very yellow. And the deep and dank tarn of my feet closed suddenly and silently over the fragments of the house of Usher. But like that does say Usher, right? Not Asher. All right. So I'll read these 2 pictures. Franklin and Margaret Asher, parents of Carlton, August, and Prospero. The Asher possessed a knack for making money like his ancestors. There were some, however, that said his fortunes were fraudulent money that came less important to him as he had his first kids. Everyone was present for the birth, even the staff. Were his parents excited? Oh, without question. Okay. Were his parents excited? All right. Broderick Asher. Franklin Asher had a knack for making money just like his ancestors. There were some, however, who said that his fortunes were illegitimate. Money came less important to him when he had his first child. All right, these are identical so far. Everyone was present for the birth, even the maid. Whoa, 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 whoa. This said everyone was present, even staff. This specifies the maid. Was the mother excited? Oh, without question. Well, this one said the parents were excited without question. This one specifies the mother. I will tell you my secrets. Just remember, Broderick's words are the ones that matter. Broderick's words. Okay. So the maid is important. I recall something. Let's see. This is the original card. My mother, Amelia Clements, was his housekeeper before me, Master Asher. Okay. I imagine that means Broderick Asher. Let's see. When my father died when I was just a girl, the Ashers took my mother and me in. We always felt a certain closeness, like one big family. My mother's mental health dwindled over time, and she hung herself when I was a teenager. They asked me to take over for my mother after she died. Okay, I thought there was something else. But I guess that was that. Okay. Not exciting. Never mind. I take it back. Let's see what this bad boy has to say. Okay. This says, I will tell you my secrets. Just remember Broderick's words are the ones that matter. When will the house of Asher rise up and enjoy its former glory? Nevermore. When you think you have come to the correct conclusions about this case, enter all 6 of your answers in order. Okay. So we're going to go through our conclusions. Writing utensil. Alright, also got our... Gonna do this in pencil. Important. Okay, so... I think I have enough information to solve this case. Well, maybe not me, but we'll find out. To do so, however, will require me to answer these questions that have been plaguing me. Is the Poe manuscript real? I don't think so. So, no. Move you guys down a little bit. Let's see. What is the killer's motive? Lust, homicidal urges, lunacy, revenge, or assassination? It's got to be lunacy or revenge. I'm going to go with D. Revenge. Who is the Red Death? Well, it can't be... So it's Madeline Perkins, LaSalle, or Virginia. The maid was present. Broderick's words are what matter. I'm going to say it's Virginia. Because Madeline and Perkins really haven't been affiliated much. Did they have an accomplice? If it's the maid, I feel like she has to have an accomplice, right? Probably LaSalle? Because there were times where she was with me, the narrator, when murder things were getting set up. So, I think, yeah. And I'm thinking it's LaSalle. Who is the accomplice? A, no accomplice. That's in case you said no to the first one. B, Virginia, because otherwise there'd be no point to the question 4, right? Because you know, oh wait, they have to have an accomplice. Virginia, well, Virginia is the person doing it, so she's not the accomplice. C, Madeline, D, Perkins, or E, LaSalle. I think that it has to be LaSalle. The only other person it might be is, you know what, I'm going to put C. I'm going to put /C because I don't see Perkins being, like, Madeline was mad at, what was her name? The wife, Asher. But, and like she said that they weren't appreciative and that there were undeserving things, etc. So she seemed to have like a little bit of a vendetta. So I think she's the only one other than LaSalle who makes sense. I just don't think it's Perkins. Watch it be Perkins. The Red Death was considered a disgrace, an embarrassment, a mistake, a curse, or a nightmare. Probably A or B. Because since, you know, we're talking about slightly older times based on the pictures we've got. And so her mother committing suicide is probably not a great look. So now I gotta just put my answers in and hope for the best. Okay, so my first set of answers was wrong. And when I was answering these, I had put like N, like no, it's not, instead of B. That was silly. But yeah, I don't know what's wrong. Oh my gosh, you don't even know. I couldn't find the solution. I misplaced it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna put it in a safe spot, and then I forgot where the safe place was. We found it. Let's get to our solution. At last. An a-hole move that would be. I know that a lot of you don't watch this, but I would not let those of you that do down like that. You have successfully completed the fall of the house of Asher. Okay, so before I get into that, is the Poe manuscript real? I don't think so. I think that one's good. Lunacy might be it instead of revenge, but I'm thinking it's still revenge. I'm keeping to my first answer of revenge. Who is the Red Death? This is where I think I got it wrong. I think that it's Virginia, but it might be Madeline, and Virginia's the accomplice. I think Virginia's involved in here somewhere. That's what I'm trying to get to. Do they have an accomplice? There's either no accomplice and it's just Virginia acting by herself, or it's Madeline, and Virginia. I just think Virginia's involved. And the Red Death was considered an embarrassment or a disgrace. I'm not really sure what the big difference is there, but maybe it's disgrace. Maybe that's where I went wrong. I had to open the window, get the fan going. It got really warm really quickly. As you think back on everything you've learned thus far, several facts rise to the surface. The murderer, going by the Red Death moniker, claimed that the Poe manuscript was fake, the Asher family's broken, Franklin Asher had an illegitimate child by the maid. Okay. The child was considered an embarrassment and put up for adoption. Okay, embarrassment was right. The maid at the time was Virginia Clement's mother, which means that the child that Franklin had with Amelia is Virginia's half-sibling. The Red Death must have been the illegitimate child who was put up for adoption so as not to tarnish the Asher family name. And now all of the known scions of the Asher bloodline have been punished through gruesome acts of murder. In this case, the sins of the father were most definitely visited on the sons. You think back to the message pinned to August's chest. All this time, the people who thought there were 3 when there were actually 4. Both of the servants knew, though. They still do. That would indicate that neither LaSalle nor Virginia was the Red Death. Dang it! But they both knew about the illegitimate child. If you think back to the card that was found on Horatio's party, Carlton and Horatio cooked up the scheme to present a new Poe story to the world and invited Perkins to be part of the bidding war. Horatio bid much higher than he could afford in an attempt to drive the price up and help Carlton save the Asher family legacy from going up in smoke. That indicated that Perkins wasn't part of the fraudulent scheme. However, the fact that the Red Death was able to gain access to Horatio's locked room meant that the accomplice was somebody with a key. Okay, so there's an accomplice. Virginia had said in her interview, I'm not comfortable talking about or any of his affairs. But she had used the word affair to refer to what happened between her mother and Franklin. She was most definitely in on it, but she wasn't the Red Death. Dang it! Which only left Madeline. Madeline smiles wryly as you give her an accusatory stare. It's you. You're the Red Death. I'm an Asher, she says proudly. I have Asher blood running through my veins, but instead of providing me the same upbringing that was afforded Prospero Carlton and August, I lived in poverty and was passed from foster home to foster home. Thankfully, my dear sister Virginia remembered that the child had given me up and tracked me down. From there, the 2 of us plotted our revenge against the family that made and nearly destroyed me. Why should they all continue to prosper when I could not? My father was ashamed of me. I was illegitimate, born to one of the servants, not noble at all. I never let on that I resented Franklin for what he put my mother through, Virginia said. But forcing her to give up the child is what drove my mother to hang herself. I never forgave Franklin for what he did, and I hated every member of this family who knew about what he had done. My mother lived in the house and was common knowledge amongst the household who the father of the baby was. All of the Asher sons knew that they didn't want to split their father's wealth with an illegitimate child. So basically, anyone who profited from the Asher's family name needed to pay up. Horatio was in on the scheme with Carlton to pass off a phony Poe story as authentic, which meant that he was trying to help escape. Oh boy, I lost my place. Hold on a bit. Which meant he was trying to help Carlton remain wealthy, no matter the cost. Lenore claimed not to know anything of the story, which meant she was trying, but she was in on it the whole time as well. All she was worried about was generating enough revenue to keep about her standard of living. When I overheard what they were planning, I arranged for my dear sister to be arranged to the party. She had spent quite a while infiltrating Lenore's inner circle and becoming her best friend. Tonight would be our chance at revenge. So you have brought about the fall of the House of Asher. Not quite, Madeline says, prompting Perkins and LaSalle to look at him. In the story, the last thing to go is the house itself. I destroyed all of the bloodline except for me. Now for one final stroke of poetic justice. She pulls out a flashing remote and prepares to hit them. There's a bomb in the wine cellar that'll bring this place to the ground. Get out while you can. My anger only extends to the family that snubbed me and who helped them remain in prominence through fraudulent means. The only reason I'm letting LaSalle go is because he helped Virginia track me down. He gained access through some records. I thank him by sparing his life. My sister, however, has chosen to stay behind with me. One look at her shows she is serious and I motion for LaSalle to unlock the library doors. He's a quick man for his age. Perkins, LaSalle, and I rush out the door into the courtyard just before a concussive blast lifts us to our feet and throws us forward into the wet and muddy front lawn of what used to be the Asher house. We all turn to see the Asher house sinking into the chasm as it opened beneath it. Soon, much of the house is swallowed by a hole of an enormous maw in the earth. In this case, life definitely imitated art. The smoldering scene before us would have made Poe proud. The Asher line is truly gone now, LaSalle says with some sadness as he wakes up to pick up Jupiter, who had managed to escape with at least one of his 9 lives intact. Perkins and I looked at each other. We're truly shocked by the events tonight. Is it possible that we've just witnessed the fall of the House of Asher? When will we ever see another family like this? Far over her in the branches comes a croaking squawk. Alan, the raven, who managed to escape with his life as well, looks down at us with his black, oily eyes and speaks only a single word. Nevermore.